hey, constructive criticism is probably the most necessary thing in what we do, and how you deliver it matters most. And I never try to belittle any of the girls at all. When I first started working with Nikki, I was just like, hey,
She's been there a little over a year.
I think so,
But she's been in the business a while too, right?
Oh, absolutely. She's been in the business longer than I have. And it's so funny because we talk stories and she's like, I don't know how I haven't met you sooner. We've literally been like our circles.
In the same circles?
Oh, yeah. Just like we'll come real close and then go back away. And then really close and then back away. But,
so, by the way, we're back in the pub for part 2 with Crystal.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're just talking about a coworker, and to be honest, it's like you and Nikki, the 2 most recent ones I've had for flash pictures.
Yeah.
Like when I do the toasts and stuff like that, and you were talking about why you two haven't met earlier, because you've been in the same circles. And
oh yeah, in the service industry. But I was just I was talking along the lines of we get along the best, and I get along with almost everybody I work with. Most girls don't have an issue with me, and that's very like almost unheard of with women working with other women.
I would say so, yeah.
But constructive criticism is a hard thing to deliver. You want to tell somebody how to do something without belittling them or making them feel dumb.
It seems like this day and age, people become more and more sensitive to that kind of thing over time.
This day and age, everybody's sensitive to everything. So
for those that are offended, I'm an equal opportunity offender. I will offend them all. I don't care.
Same.
But you know what though? If you're offended, that is on you. That is in your head. That is not what. It's not our. It's not someone else's problem.
Right.
And if we want freedom of speech, that is what it is.
Right. So I just remember when she first started working with me. Dude, she would. All the girls just did not like her, and they're like, oh well, everything that she says is just very condescending. And I'm all like, well, that's kind of your problem. Like, you're taking what she's saying super personal. And like, she said similar things to me, but I either like I dust it off or I fire back. And I'm all like, all right. Like,
I think guys are that way too. Sometimes it's sometimes you meet guys and they're just abrasive.
Yeah.
And until you fire back, then they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. You're all right. Other than that, they're just going to walk all over you until you stand up for yourself. I just try to, like, not everybody learns the same way, and not everybody is taught things as they go throughout this service industry. You just kind of get thrown in and you either wing it, or you're taught properly, or you teach yourself. And when she first came on, I would say this. She was more acclimated to clubs and bottle service. So when she came into a bar and like changing a keg yourself, it was still a dive at that time.
Yeah, so. Changing a keg yourself was just unheard of. And I'm like,
what?
Honey, come here. Let's go downstairs. Let me show you. And then she's like, you know what? I really appreciate your help because... You're the only person that took the time to show me how to do things. And I'm like, how else are you going to know? I can't assume that you know how to do this. And not everybody's going to speak up and say, I don't know how to do this, because if I were to do that, then you might be criticized for that. In the more corporate world, there's always on-the-job training. And you can't do a job until you're trained. Yeah. They will not let you do it. It's like, but I've done this 100 times before in different places. And nope, you're not trained. You have to go through our training before you can do that. Okay, what the fuck is the education for ahead of time? Right. But no, it's mentoring and things like that, and just bringing people along. That's a conversation that my last guest and I had, that because he's also a karate instructor, so he sees the need to actually show people how to do certain things, because you can observe them and see, you're not doing that right. Yeah. And here, let me show you, let me help. Yeah. And you have to be open to constructive criticism in that sense too. Absolutely, but you also have to, you gotta have like a gentle delivery as well. That varies from industry to industry. Like I said earlier, like that
working with other women, it's tough because we're fucking mean. We are absolutely mean.
Mean girls.
I mean, like, if you haven't seen that movie, it's real, and it continues out of high school. Definitely 100%.
Would you recommend that for a father of two daughters to watch that before they get into high school or whatever? I haven't watched that movie.
It'll definitely give you a good sense of what they're about to step into, because it doesn't change.
My oldest hit middle school, and it's been an eye-opener for her.
Yeah, it doesn't change. And if anything, I would say from when I was in middle school to now, they're exposed to way more. And they know way more. Like, my daughter's 11, and they're talking about transgender and being gay. And, you know, like, it's just like, what? Like, the worst thing I ever did as a kid, I was in elementary school and my neighbors were older boys and they had like this little pit in the back woods, and I found their porn stash and I brought the porn stash to school. So, I mean, like, that was the worst.
You didn't, like, take it to the teacher, did you? Like, what's this?
I was passing it out to other kids, and I got in trouble. I'm like, hey, look at this that I found. But, no, I mean, it'll definitely give you some insight of how women are to women. Like, we are cruel. We are cruel, and
psychology-wise, why do you think that is? I mean,
insecurities,
so
100%.
Take the other person down a notch to make you feel a little better. It's kind of got the game.
Absolutely. Yeah. I tend to pride myself. I'm straightforward, blunt, and honest, and you either accept me for who I am and what I have to say, or you don't, and I'm okay either way. But like, for me, I'm very humble. But I would say, like, when I interact with a lot of women just, I get backlash from other women because of the way I look, the way I carry myself, and they treat me differently.
Well, coming off, you're attractive, and then you're also assertive, and you're confident, and those are three big things right there. I mean, just someone's like, whoa, and if they're insecure, of course they're going to try to attack you just to make themselves feel better, and that gets in the way, because especially if it's someone you're a coworker. That's your teammate. You know, they need to work with you, not against you.
Right. So if you could imagine from my position, and especially working with women, and I'm like, hey, this is how we change kegs. I've had women react to me very badly and want to physically fight me. Like, oh, you're
just over changing a keg.
Over changing a keg. And now I like my coworker that I'm talking about. She's, I would say, very beautiful, confident. I would put her on the same level as me, and I think that's why she absorbed it so well. But my delivery was gentle. I wasn't trying to belittle her. I wasn't be like, oh, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you've been doing this for how long? But like, that is how women are. Like I was saying earlier, like, these girls called me when I first started waitressing box of rocks. Like, oh, you should fucking know this. Like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I don't.
That's the other thing. It's wrong to assume someone, especially coming into it new and young, that they should automatically.
Well, these girls were my age as well, so it was
same age as you, but
it was just kind of like they
must have had at least some experience ahead of you, right?
Maybe that year, but I women are just mean to each other. So delivery is huge. But I remember one girl. I still can't stand her. I still fucking can't stand her. She's still in the service industry, and her mom manages at other bars, and I still fucking run into her from time to time. But we were still a dive at that point, and she had come from another bar, and her mom managed that bar, and I was like, okay, well, this is how we close. And she goes, so? And I'm like, okay, but you have to close this way. No, we don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm like, she was so disrespectful to the point where I got disrespectful. I'm like, listen, bitch, like, you have to do it like this because this is how we do it here. And if you have a fucking problem, I'll see you outside at 2.
Wow.
Sometimes you just gotta handle business.
Cut the bitch, man.
I won't cut a bitch. I'll slap her around a bit.
Well, those nails, you might cut them though. No.
No.
That's funny. No, it's yeah, I mean, I've had the opportunity to mentor someone in the dyno world where, I test engines and stuff. So it's nothing you can just know. You have to be able to understand how an engine works and then put it on a stand, which no one does that in anywhere else. And then you have to connect it to an electric motor, which tests the engine, and you have to understand it. So I've had the opportunity to mentor basically a 19-year-old kid. I'm like, this kid knew nothing. He knew nothing coming in. So
hopefully he was super appreciative of it.
He was, yeah. And it's funny. I joked around calling him like my work son and stuff like that. And he's a good kid, and he was learning really well. And because he took the criticisms better than most kids would at that age. And I was okay, so I'm more willing to work with him then.
Yeah.
If you're going to act as if you know anything, all right, I'm going to let you fuck up. And when $300,000 prototype engine goes up in smoke, you're going to see people get pissed.
Oh no! Yeah.
So I mean, the equipment I work with is, the test cells are like millions of dollars worth of equipment and stuff like that. You don't want to fuck that up, and you don't get many other second chances. And then when customers are relying on that data and they need it like right away, you can't mess up. So mentoring someone and getting them on board and up to speed was pretty important. And it's something that the auto industry had done for years, and then during my time in there, when I came in, nobody did it. They just expect you to be educated when you came in.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was, and I was a quick learner, and if I ever had a question, I would always go to someone more experienced than me. But I was quite humble there too. But I feel like maybe partly because I was raised right, or partly because I was just smart enough that I didn't want to fuck up. This is expensive stuff. I can't afford that. I don't want to break it.
Yeah.
So, as a result, I tended to learn off others that knew more than me. But the attitudes of some that come in and just they know everything, it's like they don't last long.
No,
they get run up pretty quick. Yeah. I don't know where the modern generation gets at. Well, I kind of do. I've got some suspicions and inklings, but it's usually the overprotective parents that provide everything for them.
Yeah.
And, my daughters want stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's nice to want things, isn't it? Because you're not going to get it. Yeah. And then my daughter's like, hey, Dick, get me some Mike and Ike's, Dad. I'm like, what are you going to do to earn it?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't like you having all that sugar. But second of all, it's like, what are you going to do to earn it?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to love you, Dad. Got that anyway. I'm not going to get off that easy. You're cute and all, but not going to get off that easy. Now, girls, I see the instinctiveness from birth of how they like to try to manipulate people into doing things for them. I see that. I saw it. I saw my little one when she was just old enough to sit up. We're in a restaurant, like a Applebee's kind of place, and she's in like the high chair and she's looking over at a table of guys, men my age, and she's looking up and says, hi. And then one guy just starts waving, and I look at her and I look at them, and he looks at me and he's like, he just starts laughing like, what? My 9-month-old daughter is trying to hit on adult men. Like, but it's just, you see that, and then they do that to me all the time, and I cave, which I shouldn't, but I'm working on that myself. But it's like I'm also abrasive with them at times, and I joke with them to the point where I think I'm thickening up their skin to the point where they can handle a lot of verbal beat ups. And they can fire back too, but much better than I could at that age.
Oh gosh, let me tell you.
So
my daughter's got a couple zingers on me within the last month or so. So I'm like shit talking is my love language, and my daughter is now adapting to it and learning. And
But have you been doing that with her all along, or is it just something more as she's gotten a little older?
I wouldn't say like a shit talking to her directly.
She's probably witnessed you do it to other people?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so she's picking up on it.
She's now she'll be 12, and she's now getting to the point where she's learning how to, and like whenever she can get her little jab in, she does. And she got me a couple good times. Like my dad, we were at the dinner
How do you
table.
respond?
I just let her have it.
Okay.
I let her have it. Like, she got me one time, and like my dad's laughing at the table. He's in tears. She's in tears. And I'm like, touche.
Good one.
Touche.
It's coming back at you.
But I mean, also though, too, like, I don't know if it's, I've always, for a long time, I've been a single parent. And I, like, shit talking is also maybe like a protective defense mechanism that keeps you at bay. So people don't know like what to make of me. Like I'm fun and I'm funny, but I'm not like super inviting.
I think it's kind of one of the early impressions I had of you, like right away, was because I didn't go to KJ's very often. I went there to see Christina quite a bit, but it was pretty rare.
Yeah.
But I saw you there a few times, kind of going back and forth with some customers, like, all right, she's a tough girl.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think it's a great skill to teach my kid.
Yeah.
You know, because then it's almost like giving her a form of protection. And
keep those weak boys away.
Absolutely. 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 100%.
And my girls, I apologize in advance to everyone who meets my girls in the future. I'm doing my best, but I think they will bulldoze a lot of boys. Make your boys mentally tough. My girls are gonna kill you. Yeah, my oldest, she's strong, like physically strong, like unreal for a girl her age. And she was born that way. Like when she was a baby, you try to hold her, she could push in. I was like, I got to put her down because you're gonna lose her.
Yeah.
And she's still, her and I are like pushing on each other just the other day. I had a hard time holding this girl back.
Yeah.
She's 12. I mean, like strong. But my little one, she's built like a spider monkey. She'll climb all over you. She'll get in your head. I mean, It's like, I don't know, man. But they have different ways, different tactics, and different ways of they're going to be dealing with the boys. And my oldest will be kind of probably like in a tomboyish kind of way, kind of hanging with the boys, kind of joking around, pushing around. Yeah. My little one will probably be like pulling their hearts out and just, that's a nice heart. That's a nice heart. So
good for her. I mean, there are a lot of women out there that unfortunately don't know better and accept like bottom of the barrel and learn the hard way.
I see a lot of that, and I often, mate selection is kind of a weird thing to kind of observe. It's probably an observation you have in bars, like people on first dates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seeing those weird mismatches, and they're seeing the awkward conversations, and I've witnessed it just sitting at a bar and look over and see two people awkwardly talking, and like one of them gets up and kind of lean over. How's this first date going? And they're like, how'd you know? I could tell. Body language, I could tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen anything like that? I mean, anything? I mean, how often do you see it, or?
Given where I work at, probably not too often. A lot of the guests that come in are regulars, and like I said, older.
Not a lot of first date kind of. It's not a first date. Well, it kind of is now. But
now, yeah, with the renovation, I'm starting to see younger faces. But I mean, I think that I can only really recall one really bad first date, and he just like I don't know, he got catfished real bad, and he was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and gone.
Left her there? Oh.
Left her with the bar tab and everything.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah, very cold.
Just end the date and pay for it and get out of there. That's cold. That's kind of I mean, you got that far. I mean, finish the date and just cut it off early. I don't know. It's cold. I wouldn't recommend that for any guy.
Yeah.
It sucks. But don't lie in your apps. Don't use too many filters, and don't take all let them see you.
I wouldn't even know how to handle that. I'd be like, what? Really? He left? Fuck, I didn't even fart or anything.
I ordered a salad. I ordered a salad, and he ordered the steak. Damn it! And he left.
I didn't even eat the steak.
No. Well, yeah. First dates. I mean, awkward things between. Have you seen like people hitting on drunk guys hitting on women and things not going well, or is there any time you had to intervene and tell these guys to back off, or women getting too loud and crazy that you had to tell them to leave, kind of thing, or?
No, I mean, like, also, given the aesthetics of where I work at, I think that kind of deciphers, like, what comes in. No, I actually just brought this up the other day, and I had said, I get hit on quite a bit throughout work in any job that I've had, but, like, the worst thing that I see, and it's all the time, is married men hitting on me, and I'm like, okay, and I'll call them out. Like, you have a wedding band ring.
Classless.
It is. You have a wedding band on, or I can see the tan line from where your ring's gone. Like, I'm not like slow, but like, I'd be like, you're married. Oh, my wife's married, but I'm not. Like, really? Really?
Trying to do the mental gymnastics in that one. No, I've never been the type of person to ever cheat on anyone. I was raised with this thing. It's called a conscience.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, not anymore.
But I think things have always been that way. I think we're just exposed to a lot more now. We hear a lot more stories. Like you're telling some stories now, and other people are going to hear this. But
I mean, at the same time, though, too, I feel like that's more the aesthetics of a dive bar. You go to a dark, creepy bar to do dark, wrong things. Right?
Well, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess I just observe. I mean, to me, it's kind of, it's funny to see the townies get weird and stuff like that. And
yeah, I will say this though, like before the renovation, I've seen that quite a bit. And even if it wasn't directed towards me, I can remember a really good friend of mine. We went to school together, and her husband and her had not split up, and he had brought another woman into the bar, had no idea that I worked there and I was a server. And the look on his face.
How you doing?
I'm like, hey.
Who's your friend?
Can I get you something to drink? You guys thirsty? You hungry? Excuse me real quick.
Well, I gotta check my phone for a second. Click. Oh man. Whoa.
But I mean, like, I feel like dive bars kind of attract that stuff because you figure, okay, it's not a super busy place. What are the chances that I'm going to run into somebody I know? You know? Yeah,
I guess if it's not the typical place you would go, if it's like your home base, like your home bar, then you wouldn't do that. But
right.
I made the mistake. I made the mistake one time, and I've talked to this woman again recently. I dated her for like over a year, and it was fun, but I made the stupid mistake because I built my base at Johnny Black's, and I thought, and this was only a thought I kept to myself. I didn't even think to even say, hey, put this out there. You see me with someone and something doesn't seem right, or she's like off doing something with somebody, and please let me know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I kind of thought that's like, since I built up a lot of relationships with people there, locals or regulars and staff, that if I brought someone there, and it's like maybe they would see some of the red flags that I wouldn't. Because when you're in a relationship early on, you tend to ignore all the red flags. You know, the red flags. You know,
yes.
Walk right through that one. No, and because it's the dopamine in your brain, and you're kind of the love drug kind of thing, and you're kind of. So I made the mistake, and I actually mentioned it to her. It's like Johnny Black's was gonna be like a third, fourth date because it was like my home base. And it's like I told her up front. I said, yeah, I'm kind of hoping that some of the people there kind of watch my back and will tell me something and look for red flags for me. And she's like, oh, really? She came back and hit me with that so many times throughout the relationship. Because I was like, yeah, that was a dumb move. I shouldn't have said that out loud. It's just one of those things where you should listen to your friends. And
bird vomit.
Yeah, your friends are clear-headed when you're not, and then you're with someone they don't like. They should tell you. They may or may not, but it depends on the friends. But So I'm just kind of hoping to have that outside perspective. Like if I was in a relationship with the wrong person, I would have that friend network to kind of help me out and tell me that person's not right for you.
I mean, I think that you would get more of a genuine opinion from a real friend versus anybody in the bar. I mean, like, as a bartender, it's kind of my job not to get involved. You know, like, ooh. Now if it affects like
if I don't talk, I'll get a better tip.
Well, no, I mean, like, I have the genuine aesthetics for every guest, and you know, I have guests coming in going through divorce, or you know, I'm not sure where I want to go in life, or am I gay, am I not gay, you know, like, I have to respect all that. And there are other people, because it's generally a great bar where I work at, so it attracts a lot of people in the same group, so I have to respect their privacy as much as I want to be like, hey, let me tell you what I heard. I have to
got the big gossip.
I have to respect that. And I mean, like, that's asking a lot of a bartender to be like, hey, if you see some flags, tell me. Because
gotcha. And
bartenders can't pick either
like
side.
I said, I never put that out there to the other people to say, hey, look for that for me. I just kind of assumed, because I was a decent relationship with them, that might just come up.
No, it's kind of a code.
Okay. All right, now I know, and I'm learning something here. So
it's kind of a code. I just recently had a guest. He's going through a divorce, and everybody in the bar knows him and his wife. Mm-hmm. And he was in there the other day, and he was talking about, things about his divorce, and he's like, oh, well, Crystal knows. And I was like, I don't know anything. I have no idea what's going on in your life, and I don't repeat it because it's your private life. And sometimes, people need that release, coming into a bar just to unleash and tell somebody you don't know without judgment. And like, who am I? And it's kind of a poopy. Again,
you're playing psychologist, right? So you don't want to reveal to other people what you know about that person. So
it's a shitty position to put us in, but like, we have to respect it, because other than that, like, you're getting yourself involved, and you kind of don't want to be that person either.
Yeah.
So I'll look out for my girlfriends.
That being said, just in case you ever see me in there, no, I wouldn't do that. If that's kind of a code, I'll respect the code.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you come in and have a meltdown and I went and talked about it to everybody, I don't think you would like me very much the next day. Be like, well, I kind of, I was drunk and I had a moment of weakness, or, I really needed to let that shit out. Then that's kind of like crappy on my part to like kind of go around and talk about you, We all have moments, even as bartenders. I could tell you, as long as I've worked there, I'll get off early and I've had a couple of drinks, and I'm just as human as you guys are, and I have my own problems, and sometimes like I'm the crier, so I cry, and we all need a moment, and people to respect that moment and be like, I've been there. Like, have your moment. You need a shoulder to cry on, or an ear to hear you. We're here.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, pub is short for public house, and public houses used to be the places where people would go to converse and socialize, and long before social media, right? And topics like religion and politics were usually discussed there. But
really?
I mean, even personal stuff, believe it or not. Yeah.
No way, because it's like the two things you shouldn't talk about in a bar anymore.
We've made it so taboo, right? I mean, I think somewhere along the line we made it not a dinner topic, where that also should happen there too. But I think political polarization has gotten so bad to the point where people just can't talk about it anymore. But I like things on a conceptual level. But the pub is also referred to, I don't know who made the quote, I actually have a picture of it, but it said, pub is the university of the working man. And it's obviously, you get a lot of education there, right? And like yourself, you learn a lot of things about it, and you convey some of that information to people.
Absolutely. I'll say this right now. One of the most recent things that I learned while working there is one of my coworkers is in early childhood development, and with my daughter, I mean, like, how things are with like special education, the 504 and the IEP program. I mean, like, not to be extensively blunt, but like, I feel like the school kind of sized me up in one form or another, and talked really fast at me like I wouldn't know, and then like I'm uneducated, like I can't figure this out, like just based on my physical looks and my occupation, I feel like a lot of people are very judgmental in that aspect. And
you work at a university, we just said that.
So my coworker was in doing that for that is her goal as a career, and she educated me on that and was super helpful towards me. So like, she kind of just gave me my shield when I went back,
I think that I've been through that too with my oldest daughter, and they kind of want a lot of kids on those programs because it's more money for them, and it's bottom line, and more money into the system, because once they have a student on that program, they get to have all these other resources come in, and it's more money too. So the more kids they can get on those, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the extra education, the extra personal learning. I don't want them to push any type of drugs on me, though. So your kid needs to be medicated. No.
That's super.
That brain is still developing, and I understand brains develop all the way into their 20s. I like to think I'm plastic enough I'm still learning, and I kind of am. But I mean, you got to keep your brain in the active mode and student mode, but to keep learning. But
I mean, like, it's super hard as a parent because there is no book.
You're under stress. You're working. You can't focus on your child all the time, and you want to trust them because they're supposed experts in their fields.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But also, I mean, like, you're also dealing with your child, and you have to ask them, you know, and is this how they're really feeling, or are they still being a kid? So it's like catch-22 all the way around.
Yeah, they box too many kids into specific programs, and I think there are many ways to learn, not just one. I've learned that about myself. Like, I had a difficult time learning certain subjects in school, but others I'd sit in class, watch, ace the test. Like, well, you didn't do any homework. Like, I know the subject.
Yeah.
But other ones, but I found it was just a way they didn't present it in a way that I would pick up on it, and I learned much later. I'm more of a visual learner than I am one by reading. I can watch something. I watch a documentary and pick up so much more than I could reading a book.
I think it's like I'm a visual learner, but also like I'm a hands-on learner.
That's another big one. Hands-on is actually, once you visually learn and then hands-on, it locks pretty hard into your brain, and then you got it. So yeah, I mean, that's why I picked up like auto mechanics really well. We're talking about taking, as a kid, got a truck. Found my dad's screwdriver, start taking it all apart.
Right.
And I learned how to reassemble it. I'm like, okay, and I learned how that stuff works, and then gives you an advantage for things in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's all good stuff. Learn so much at the pub. Obviously, you've got quite an education from the people you've been around, and it definitely shows.
Wouldn't say that I'm the most like book smart, definitely street smart, but also, you know, like you learn book smarts as well.
Too many people are the opposite, though. They're all book smart and no street smart, but that's because they lack experience. You lack experience in the world. Yeah, you can tell me all about it, but once you go out there and actually physically bump into it, then you really know what it is.
Right.
I mean, you can tell me how to throw a baseball, but until you throw it and actually catch it.
Experience is the best teacher, in my opinion.
I totally agree with that. Absolutely. Well, I think that's pretty good so far. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to put out there? You want to talk more about I don't know how much. Trying to recall how much we actually talked about your contest that you're in, and I know we talked about it in the first segment, and we talk a little bit about here in the second segment, but.
No, I mean, like, it's...
How do we get on there? How do we vote? I mean...
I can share a link, or you can share a link on...
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, but
vote for Crystal.
Yeah. It's just basically, you know, any bartender, they ask a few simple questions, and it's a chance to win, like, $10,000 and be on the cover of a magazine. So, I mean, I think I'm a great bartender in the aspect of like listening and, you know, like, hey, what's gonna get me
from
where
what
I
I've observed, I think you got a good balance of all kinds of things, because I've seen people kind of come at you and you've kind of handled them, and but you also work hard, you do a good job, and no one ever sits, you know, my drink's never completely empty before someone's coming back around like yourself, and I'm like, that's awesome. Sometimes you go to some bars and your drink's empty, you put it out there like, and they're just not coming. They don't. And it's like, pay attention a little bit. I mean, you're over there talking. I'm like,
right.
Like you're saying, don't have a lot of time for that, because drinks go down and you got to refill. And even if like you want to get out of there, it's like, give me my check, please. Where are you?
I mean, you're there to make money. It's a hustle. Yeah. So how adamant are you about making money in your hustle?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Well, enjoyed your time here, and
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So once again, out there, tip your servers well, and hope we all learned something from Crystal, and I certainly did.
Cheers.
Cheers.